Beloved, as we move into this weekend, one of the portions of the readings in the lectionary is from the prophet Habakkuk. The first 4 verses of chapter 1 and the first 4 verses of chapter 2. I want to read them to you, and then I want to make some comments. The oracle that the prophet Habakkuk saw: O Lord, how long shall I cry for help, and you will not listen? Or cry to you violence, and you will not save? Why do you make me see wrongdoing and look at trouble? Destruction and violence are before me. Strife and contention arise. So the law becomes slack, and justice never prevails. The wicked surround the righteous, therefore justice comes out perverted. In chapter 2, he says, I will stand at my watchpost and station myself on the rampart. I will keep watch to see what he will say to me and what he will answer concerning my complaint. Then the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision. Make it plain on tablets so that a runner may read it. For there is still a vision for the appointed time. It speaks of the end and does not lie. If it seems to tarry, wait for it. It will surely come, it will not delay. Look at the proud. Their spirit is not right in them, but the righteous shall live by faith. There's that famous, the just shall live by faith. But there's a profound crisis going on that rocks Habakkuk's world and rocks his faith. There's an impending invasion coming against Israel, and there's impending judgment coming on the nation because they are not being just in their dealings with the poor. They are not being just in their relationships with one another. So justice and righteousness, which are both the same word in the Hebrew, is coming out perverted. And so it's sort of like a social club without the real sense of covenantal ties that are tied to the heart of Yahweh for the people, for the stranger, for the alien, for the orphan, etc., etc., etc. All the things that the prophets decried that were contrary to the will and the heart of the God that we know as the triune God of love are facing Habakkuk in a moment of crisis, and there is that which is presenting an anti-vision of the future. Now, I want to just say this about this term anti-vision, because I'm using it because I think it juxtaposes Habakkuk in between what could be and what wants to be. What could be is the anti-vision. What wants to be is the compelling, powerful vision of a peaceable kingdom. Now, there will be an invasion coming from the north, and the Chaldeans will come in, but Habakkuk is invited to live in the tension of the now and not yet, and dare to believe that there is still a powerful pull coming from the future, a now and a not yet, not rooted in triumphalism, but rooted in the peaceable kingdom, the vision of shalom, the vision of the absence of all things harmful, the presence of all things beneficial. And that only the proud would resist that possibility. And pride and arrogance lead to a fall, as we know, and pride also leads to the self-exertion of, I'm going to make it, I'm going to survive, I'm going to do this, I. When in actual fact, it's the humble, it's the meek, those who are possessing a strength and grace of the Spirit in the midst of the disciplines and the chastenings that come, that are going to inherit the future. And God is very certain, and he says to Habakkuk, write the vision. Make it plain. Write it on tablets. Write it on shiny tablets. Make it inspiring so that the one who reads it and listens to those words can be gripped by it and begin to run in the direction of it. Run into the direction of the powerful, compelling pull of the intended future that Yahweh has declared will be, regardless of what is right now. And you and I need to realize that most of our compelling visions come in the crisis of our faith. It is not until we are pressed to our extremities and we find ourselves having lost that childlike sense of awe and wonder, that we have to once again bow down at the feet of Jesus and allow him to cleanse us of our skepticism, our cynicism, our fears, our judgmentalism, and bring us to a place of holy anticipation, sacred anticipation, sanctified imagination. That, as the late Brother Schambach said, if God said it, he'll do it. If he spoke it, he'll bring it to pass. If ever there needed to be a reawakening of a sanctified imagination that carries a powerful pull of an intended future of shalom, it's now. The powerful pull of the Prince of Shalom, the Prince of nothing missing, nothing broken, the Prince of the absence of all things harmful, the presence of all things beneficial. There is hope. There is indeed hope, because God is the God of hope. And it is in the midst of every crisis that we face, every conflict that we are engaged in, and every decision that we have to make as a result, that we are being invited to make a choice. We can either look at the crisis and what seems to be an impending negation of a possible future, or we can station ourselves in the watchtower and be watch persons on the wall and look off to the horizon, who is Christ himself, who is calling us from the future to the future, and whose precious promises are all yes and amen in him, and who is in that inviting us to run towards the future, to pant as a deer or as a dog would pant towards something in anticipation and almost in a sense of a breakout sweat, in order to establish a rhythm that is moving in the direction of God's intended future. The future is indeed as bright as the promises of God. But it takes the just to live that out. And the just live that out in the midst of conflict and anti-vision, and embody and incarnate the vision of the Word himself made flesh. And we are called to be a people who walk in the opposite spirit of where the anti-visionaries are walking, because we have received a kingdom that cannot be shaken. This weekend is our historic, extraordinary, the conference weekend, our anniversary celebration, as we celebrate 21 years here in Orlando, in addition to 10 years in Raleigh. 31 years this ministry has been engaged as best as possible in a powerful, compelling vision of a God-intended future. Deidre Tyson is with us on Sunday. Bishop Garlington is with us on Tuesday. Bishop Tudor Bismarck is with us on Wednesday. It promises to be an amazing, exhilarating, and exciting time. I urge you to come and be at all the meetings and bring someone with you. It's going to be historic. I love you. We'll see you Sunday.